This week, Fallout New Mexico has been canceled. We go into the nuts and bolts why in 60 seconds.
This is the W2 report with Sanji Himura. Here's Sanji.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the W2 report. I'm your host, Sanji Himura. Today, we are going to present to you why Fallout New Mexico was canceled this week. But before we bring on our guest, let us go over the ground rules with Mr. Lindgren.
Yeah, I'm just filling in for Lord Crocus Squirrel right now. First, the rule number one, don't be a dick. This is a rule I keep having to remember. Rule number two, if you're wondering whether you're being a dick, refer to rule number one.
Please do not go after anybody we talk about here today, because that will make me a very sad panda, and
you won't like us when we're sad.
Yes. All right, let us bring on our guest for this week. We have a Mr. McJeetus.
McJeetus. Top of the afternoon to you, Lord and Savior McJeetus.
I actually, that's funny. That was actually one of my biggest fears about that I would be mistaken for something like that. Anyways, how's it going, everyone? I am McJeetus Arroyo. I am a content creator that's live around YouTube, Tumblr, a handful of other sites, and I'm here today as a guest for this podcast.
Oh, anyway, welcome, McJeetus. So let us go into the articles that we're going to present to you today.
Yeah,
and we're gonna go into the bit of backstory between the person who caused this cancellation and why they canceled this situation. So with that out of the way, let us go with coverage from PC Gamer. After resuming work following a hold in 2024, Fallout Nuevo Mexico has now been officially canceled. Quote, the costs ahead, both financial and personal, are too great. Also, we have Games Radar presenting an article saying after 4 years, Fallout New Vegas' massive New Mexico mod is canceled. Quote, continuing forward simply isn't sustainable. And we have a quote from Nuevo New Mexico's lead project designer saying, quote, this project's been my passion, my obsession, and a huge part of my life for years. I poured thousands of hours into it, late nights, early mornings, and everything in between. I met amazing people along the way, some who have become long-term friends. It helped me grow and evolve into a better person. Some of the best moments of my life has been bringing this world to life, and I'll always be proud of the work we accomplished. But as much as I love the project, he continues, I need to prioritize my mental health and face reality. The team is small, less than 4. The workload is enormous. The cost ahead, both financial and personal, are too great. Continuing forward simply isn't sustainable for me and everyone involved, including voice actors. Now,
All right.
before we get started breaking down the nuts and bolts of this, McJeetus, were you following Fallout New Mexico at all? And was this cancellation surprising to you?
From a lot of people that I've heard about it recently, yes, it is surprising to a lot of people because it was a very highly anticipated project, and of course people tons and other people were definitely looking forward to the idea that we would have a Fallout story in the state of New Mexico. On top on top of that, I was someone who vaguely had a little bit of knowledge about it, but the funny thing about that was that I was always a little bit I've got the word for it. I don't want to say squeamish. That sounds rude, but squeamish about like the idea of just like DLC size or like entirely new games into different Fallout mods, because it is such a enormous workload. You're basically setting an entire world space of one game to decide to basically make an entirely new thing into another, and of course there's plenty of stress regarding about it. There's plenty of bugs and issues that you gotta address, look over, and like analyze all that fancy IT things to make sure that it is optimized properly, and that is, and yeah, like I said, it's just a very expansive, very task loaded, I would say.
Right. Now,
Is the work, or I do have a question though, has the work done on New Mexico been less haphazard than the work done on Fallout Frontier? Because I know it's a meme, but it was a lot of work that it went into that mod.
Yes. Same thing as well. I actually vaguely knew a lot less about Fallout Frontier until like the most recent I know about it is like about all the reviews regarding it and how it was just never great. And at the time, I never 100% kind of knew why until I started hearing a little bit about like the discourses of it and like all the the
backroom drama.
Drama, and then some of the design aspects that they were working on, because there were I think it was Ashford dude who was talking about it. He mentioned that like how their idea was basically just taking one aspect of it that just like did not work at all, crank it up to 11, and then combine it with trying to utilize a lot of Fallout New Vegas's like roughly flawed shooting, and that it just did not mesh very well. So it's basically just like a to me, at the very least, it's mainly just like a challenge of just like what to plan, what not to plan, what works in the product that you're working on to make this expansion for it, and what doesn't work for what you're working on, and making a list of that, adjust accordingly, and then proceed to use all that to basically make a mod product akin to something like Fallout London, or maybe Fallout New California, or anything along the lines of basically these new game plus sized mods. I guess I should say. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but like
well,
like I said,
it's apt. it's apt in any situation, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not like it's not like that I never hated it. I always felt confident that a lot of the devs that would work on these projects would be able to know what's right and what's wrong, and get the job done to release something that everyone will enjoy. That's what I ended up saying about Fallout London, because I was actually excited about the idea that it would be an entirely new Fallout story that isn't even set in the United States. It's like across the ocean and into basically just like the streets of London. You could basically just like tour the entirety of London in just like 20 uh in this like world that's just like built by fans in a franchise that's basically just like has been predominantly American, and like there's and with like all these people just like making up all these fan theories, fan stories, like fan concepts about like everything else around the world that after the bombs in like 2077, like what would South America look like? What would Canada look like? Well, not Canada, but like technically the upper northern half of the United States, and like
Right.
you know, what would Europe and like Russia, China, like all those places that would be, well, primarily China as well, but like just all these ideas and concepts just put just made by fans, just made into a reality with Fallout London. Oh wait, sorry. I'm sorry. What was the question again? I lost track.
It's like the how well was the work on New Mexico kept on the rails as opposed to what happened with the Frontier? Basically,
Judging by the previews, comparing to the previews that I saw for the Fallout Frontier and the recent stuff with like Fallout New Mexico, I'd say it would be like reasonably better. But part of it is like also mainly due to the fact that it's just like so many years apart. Like Fallout New Mexico would have been like in the 2020s, while that one was like made like almost a decade ago with like not super great like recording qualities and like the bit rates and all that. Like it definitely, like in terms of like just the evolution of like all the DLC sized trailers for like some as a collective whole, it has gotten a little better with the quality. And a part of me made me feel a little confident that Fallout New Mexico might be the next best thing might be the next best thing compared to what a DLC size mod would look like back in 2010, 2015 and whatnot.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider a lot of the evolvements that Fallout New Vegas modding has went through, like the new animation plugin that they did for KVNSE, where you could basically just like make independent first person animations in general for like standalone weapon mods and that sort of thing. So in short, just like evolved, improved. In terms of quality, I want to have a whole lot to say, because like I said, I haven't seen the Frontier. I haven't heard a lot of good things about the Frontier, and I do not doubt a lot about it, considering a lot of discourse that I had to hear later down the line with what we're talking about today.
Yes.
Yeah, the Frontier had some technically impressive stuff in it, But
Oh
the
yeah,
modder who did that was fighting against the creation engine the entire way with it.
yeah. That's also the consensus with that is just that you're working with really well in terms of just like Bethesda works. They gave you the
Already
tools
haphazard technology.
yeah, they gave you the tools for it, but it's definitely not super optimized tools, especially when you go on to Fallout 4 and how first person animations works in the modern scene over there, where there's just not a whole lot, and people tend to just use what's popular
Right.
for those newly
Yeah.
released mods.
Okay, let's introduce some more characters in our story today. First off, we have Mr. Thomas English, reporter from the Daily Caller, wanting some comments from our main attraction today. This account, Mr. English DM'd this account for comment on the Fallout New Mexico story. And he also asked a Twitter account by the name of Sneedclave Anonymous
There we go.
for a comment on the story. And Sneedclave Anonymous made comments. This account here, however, told him to pound sand. Now, going back to Sneedclave Anonymous, he's also claiming that the account that told him to pound sand is under his control as well. Am I getting that impression correctly?
Yes, pretty much.
As a matter of fact, there's a number of accounts belonging to one person. That is our star of the show today, Allout Monte. What can you tell me more about him?
Okay, so All Out Monty was a he's basically just like a spooky story now, but like All Out Monty has just been a face in the Fallout community where Mr. Monty is basically just like this maybe not golden child, but like the people's people of the Fallout community where he knows what's right, and he's confident about everything. He thinks for the people and all that, but that's effectively just what he essentially wants you to think. Although Monty over the years has basically just has just effectively been exposing himself as a lot less than that, a roughly undesirable character that basically is not what he wants to think himself as. Monty was someone who originally started in his claim to fame was actually having this interview with a former Fallout 2 New Vegas writer going by the name of Chris Avalone, and that's pretty much like the one positive merit about it. Everyone else that I've met so far has basically just had horror stories about Alamonte and just how much of a liability and like a liar, and to some extent a content thief that he became.
Okay, so we know he stole some content. Do we know how much and what it was?
So his main So his main origin story was uh, started when an old friend of his, in quotations, an old friend, reached out to me when after I released one or two documentaries about him in Sneak Clave Anonymous, and he used to, and the reason why he knew him is that he used to work at a forums group that went by the name of Sugar Bomb. Originally, I thought that Sugar Bomb was a forum group dedicated to Fallout the Frontier, but it turned out to be a forum group that was basically a Fallout 4 hype train sort of thing that was meant to hype up Fallout 4 through until release day, and and it kind of came to show. And he would say that he founded the whole thing, and it turns out that's not true. It it was somebody who goes by the name of Potato, and Potato that his friend referred to as Potato. I don't know if that his actual username or like I would believe it is his actual username, but like it's his actual username, and he was basically the one that founded and put basically all the work into Sugar Bombed, while All Out basically leached off of him and basically made the forum group his own. It was a forum group that it was originally a forum group that Potato and another YouTuber by the name of Mr. Matty Plays had, and then after that after that during the lifetime all the way to the end, which to the end of the forum's lifespan, which I think was around 2017, that old friend said that Monte basically co-opted it as his own. And he would go on to tell me that he knew nothing about like web development or anything like that, and yet he would try to make a lot of efforts to basically just resurrect the forums, and to just no avail. He would eventually devolve it into a Discord server, and that is not which I don't know if devolving is the right term for it, but he would basically downgrade it into a Discord server, and as he had told me, it is basically filled with sauerkrauts and racists.
Wow.
I can't say the actual word, but he went there himself, and he said, yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah. I am so glad I'm not looking at that right now. We have All Out Monte devolving into Sneak Clave Anonymous and Cletus the Sneed. Now, what's ironic about this is that I told Cletus the Sneed not too long ago that he was taking video games way too seriously, and he basically said, "You want to go to war, bud?" Right to my face.
That is basically his whole entire mentality. A part of me kind of felt like that was his mentality until later down the line, where he would work on Fallout Ashfall, which that moment would basically be his breakpoint, because I'm sorry, I ran out of breath for whatever reason.
That's all right.
But anyways, but yeah, like I said, that was kind of his mentality until Fallout Ashfall, which is where basically the entire story starts. Fallout Ashfall was a upcoming DLC size mod project for Fallout New Vegas that was actually juggled around between a handful of developers and creators. And basically, Fallout Ashfall was essentially the similar vein to that of Fallout Nuevo Mexico and Fallout London, New California, the Frontier, and the likes, where it was an entire Fallout narrative that took place in Hawaii. And they did end up facing a lot of hurdles back then, as that some of the people that that they juggled around between was had like some stuff on them that were claimed by Sneedclave and by Sneedclave Anonymous in the group and all that. And Sneedclave would basically just have Fallout Ashfall his primary target. Although his main primary habit though was basically supporting Fallout Frontier, being like the defender of Fallout the Frontier, and like making these insane unhinged stories about this troll group that calls themselves the Sneedclave, which as far as I'm know and concerned, compared to a lot of the people that I've talked about recently, has basically been defunct or just like straight up abandoned.
Wow.
It's very messy.
Yeah, I can tell. Now, Sneedclave Anonymous branched off into two accounts: Tamriel Rebuilt Community Watchdog and a long since suspended account called Israeli Enclave Enjoyer.
Okay, so the Tamriel Rebuilt was actually the one that surprised me a lot, because I did not think it would be a jump to an entirely different fandom of just like I didn't expect him to think that I feel bad about this, but I accidentally said Skyrim when it was supposed to be like Morrowind, because because the dev actually reached out to me and told me that Morrowind is like a entirely different different game, and they were basically making like a reasonably large mod project out of it, and I lost track. Anyways,
we were talking about Tamriel Rebuilt.
So Tamriel Rebuilt Community Watchdog is someone who was basically impersonating at least a member, either a member or trying to associate himself to the entire group of the Tamriel Rebuilt dev community, which as you've seen from Sneedclave's history, is what he did compared with Fallout the Frontier, where he would basically use the entire discourse centering around that as basically to like an opportunity to weave himself into this whole debacle and make himself like this goofy representative of a mod project that some people probably don't even know that subgroup exists, or a subgroup into a large group.
So he's trying to self-appoint himself as a community manager.
So something along the lines of that, which as far as I know, is probably the dumbest thing to do if you're looking at this as like a lawyer or like someone or someone who's studying into like laws and legal systems, and you're learning about the crimes of basically impersonation and
Yeah.
and I think it was called spoofing. I think it was it's basically like a law where you basically impersonate a U.S. Citizen with the intent of like harm or wrongdoing.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna talk about Israeli Enclave Enjoyer, but like
Go ahead.
yeah, he's someone who isn't associated with anything, but I guess part of it trying to be a little bit associated. I mean, unless if you want to talk about how being associated with like the Israeli community, because that's like his whole entire gist. It's just him being being as like this Israeli representative, or like an Israeli patriot, as you will.
Mhm.
Did I say patriot? I feel like patriot is the right word for it. But like someone who stands strongly with Israel alongside with being a representative of the enclave. And
Mhm.
uh and that Twitter name was actually related to a official YouTube channel uh who made an entire video. It was a 2-minute video, which was basically just like a roughly incoherent yap session about Fallout Ashfall, where he claimed it to be woke because of like pronouns in Latinx communities. It was very uh, unhinged as it was like unhearable to an extent.
Right.
Could also legally be defamation.
Oh yeah, all this is definitely defamation, which is
Yeah.
the hilarious
Yeah.
hypocrisy that comes with All Out and his group that he usually surrounds himself with, because we have a lot of stuff on him that would be declared as like defamation, yet he would basically try to flip it around and say that like say that like we're defaming him for exposing him for defamation. It's
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
to paint
Yeah. That's
a picture.
definitely out of line.
Basically, I don't know. I don't know. This is like a goofy picture to paint, but like, it's a little. It makes me think of the one bit in the Equalizer,
Mhm.
where the main where Denzel, where he's talking with the cartel, trying to disguise as a cop, and he's trying to talk to them out, and then he points a gun at them, takes it, and like flips around. It's just that, but with like the cursed revolver with the barrel that's just like overtly bent, just like back at your face. Effectively,
Yeah.
that is the entirety of a lot of Allah's arguments when it comes to quote unquote defending his honor. Although there isn't
Right.
a whole lot of honor to be had with the things that he did in the past and what he continues to do effectively.
Mhm.
Yeah. One of our notable frames of reference was this serial accuser called Acer Thorn, who would accuse every critic of having unclean hands and then trying to sue them for it.
What?
Yeah.
For real? That's not a bit.
No.
No,
I
he
wish it was
tried.
fiction, but it
Yeah.
wasn't.
What? Okay. That's
Yeah.
a little more
Yeah.
crazy than whatever he comes up with. But okay.
Now there
Yeah,
is
Acer
word.
Thorn also was mentally unstable.
Mm. Well, he would basically fit right well with All Out in that case.
Yeah.
I mean, just less hands and a little more. I don't know. Role playing, doing the weirdest Salem witch trials reenactment where they basically just go on witch hunts for like non-existent bisexual trans people and like uh uh people in like different like ethnicities and groups that just like don't even exist at all at their dev team in the first place, but it's there, therefore their project is effectively woke, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You can
all of
choose
that.
between
All of
male
that.
and female, therefore it's woke.
That is
That's
Sorry, you were
exactly what
saying.
it is. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
yeah
I
no
mean, if
yeah
we're
no
being
I
completely
get that.
honest,
It's
that's
just
exactly what it is.
I just get that. It's just you usually just never get used to it, especially when you're in when you're into like groups or circles where you don't think there isn't that much it isn't that much of a discussion. Like like my description of how I even got into this mess with a handful of other people was that I saw I saw one thing uh I saw one thing about it where people were getting were getting a little mad over about Amazon Prime's Fallout series. Watch that, by the way, very great. Um,
Yeah,
they were
I believe it's fantastic too. So
yeah they were getting mad at like idea of like uh the timeline of it being taking place like 15, it was either like 15 years before or after like Fallout New Vegas, or like it originally started as that was just like janky timelines where like uh it it looks bad, but when you think about it, like no, like it's not like half as bad, and like
mhm.
uh uh oh, dude. And B like it's just like the weirdest things to get mad about because of course there's a lot of things that are like subject to change, and there's a lot of things that you don't and anticipate. And to add on about that, like some stuff where if you ever played some of the games before, like some part of it kind of like makes a little a little bit of like odd sense because I really don't want to spoil anything about it. But
Mhm.
like how in Fallout New Vegas, when you're encountering the NCR for the first time, uh you talk to one of the you talk to either like one of the lieutenants, and they say something along the lines of like, yeah, we're like stretched far too thin, like the legion has like bigger numbers, and which is like all over the place trying to sort things out, figure it out,
Mhm.
and then have everyone band together to basically help fight this massive force that's like coming from the east effectively. And you look you look at some of the stuff in like the Fallout TV show, and a part of it like makes a little bit of sense because some of the timeline events that took place in there, and the equation I I'm sorry, this is my first day in the podcast. Uh, it's my first day in a podcast. And yeah, and
Oh yeah, it's, bringing this back to the original topic.
yeah. So
What
sorry for sun
happened
locking.
after he was defaming the Asheville mod for
Ash.
or perceived
Paul.
wokeness?
So for the Fallout Asheville story, basically a part of it originally started because All Out Crimson and like somebody else wanted to make a trailer for Fallout Asheville, and at the time they were talking about this trailer, it was Fallout Asheville was poorly optimized at the time, and when the former lead Asheville dude was in charge, he basically said that wasn't a great idea because the mod wasn't ready yet. There was still a lot of things they needed to or sort out. There were a lot of uh, designs they needed to add. They barely had like one or two things in there uh, that were important, and it just wasn't ready even for like even for like just basically just like quality screenshots. If I'm correct, but like it just like wasn't ready for previews, and they needed and they needed to find a better time to do it after they sort out all the hurdles of making a DLC size mod. They proceeded to release it anyways, and a lot of people were not very happy about it, that Asphalt Dude included. And after basically a little bit of the lecturing, a few of the people ended up getting removed from the project, and Monty would basically be kicked out for inactivity. And that basically started an entire and that basically started All Out's primary smear campaign towards the
Right.
Fallout Ashfall mod, where he would basically just make a bunch of accusations and like defamation and libel towards a mod that he basically got rightfully fired from. Got rightfully fired from.
Yeah, because he had not lifted a finger the entire time.
Yeah, that too. But that's
Yeah.
anyways.
Yes. So, what connects the events of Asheville to Nuevo Mexico?
Okay, so the funny thing about the connection between Ashfall, Fallout Ashfall, and Fallout Nuevo Mexico.
Ashfall.
Yeah, Ashfall. So I didn't want to. I didn't want to butt in and like correct it because I feel like that sounded a little rude, but like I just wanted to.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
so Allout has this whole entire hate campaign towards Fallout Ashfall, and one of the crutches that he would the quote unquote crutches he goes on, basically defaming is using a person that goes by the name of Urias. And to a lot of the New Vegas people who have heard of his name before, it's been perceived that like Urias was someone who was like the absolute like the worst of the worst. Like there were like as far as I know, there were various cases where Urias would basically like stalk and dox people, and like like he would say like all these outlandish, unhinged things that were probably that as he was Sneak Clave Anonymous would basically go on to accuse them of doing this as be like as equally as unhinged and all that. He would basically use that as a crutch to go on and slander Fallout Ashfall and then Fallout Nuevo Mexico because there were accusations saying that Zabshock was Urias. Now, the spoiler alert story about this is that Urias is not Zabshock, and Urias has never existed since 2021.
Wow.
So he was this and like all the stuff about like in one of the cases Sneak Clave would say something along the lines of like Urias stalked and doxed like one of the writers for Fallout London, and they would say now that never happened. And like just there's like all the stuff that would be coming out will basically just like be debunked because it just never happened because like he never existed in the first place. Like to put it into a concept like how super vague but also how super effective it was in his smear bit. Like there's like one of the evidences of his existence was that he was never active since 2021, and another was one day Urias decided to basically send a writer of the Fallout Frontier dev team a fan art of like a Rule 34 Deathclaw, called him a slur, left, and that was the end of the story.
Wow.
And ever since then, like he just like there would just be all these stories about like Urias being an awful person, and then there's just like nothing about it. And one of the discourses that happened was during the development of Fallout Nuevo Mexico. There was a new Vegas mod that they intended to use that goes by the name of another millennia, which was a which is a mod pack by Arc Charger that that was basically just a unofficial update to a compilation of all the works that Millennia has done in the past with Fallout New Vegas with the high quality textured weapons and all that, and it utilized a lot of the new stuff and things and the modding tools for that, like the KV and SC plugins for better animations, so that it feels like the weapons that you are using and all this other stuff. And apparently, and well, not apparently, like now there's there was a dispute between Arc and Zapshock, where basically it devolved into him coming to the conclusion that Zapshock is Urias because
Oh wow.
because one of the it was a very weird dispute from what I saw, but basically Zapshock had the idea of say on paper the idea of just like saying hey we are using like another millennia for your stuff and you have your own mod page for that, so what if we just had the idea of just like having a section on the mod page where it's like hey like on another millennia, like a side of the mod page where it says like hey you may like this whole entire mod pack, but come see what we contributed to and what it led to with like Fallout Nuevo Mexico and all that. Basically, it was like a you. It was like a I promote you, you promote me, and we could basically just like take turns sharing like downloaders, endorsers, and like all of that. And it was worded wrongly, and it well at least to me when I was talking about it with Ashwell dude when we were reading it we the two of us figured that something was like super off about it because a part of it felt like like oddly manufactured, but we couldn't understand like what extent of it was like manufactured because the original screen caps were what he had for the entire discussion. There was like a lot of messages that were like redacted, and that was like one of the major questions of just like, who said what on this message that was removed, or like what, or like was it? Did he say something? Did you say something and all that? But it was basically just like it was basically just like the important stuff. Well, I say important stuff, but a lot of it just regarding Zapshock just like trying to talk his piece in the dispute, and effectively that just led to Arc Charger just coming to the assumption that he is Urias and just like riding with it for a while. And I guess as Sneedclave, he took as Sneedclave, all took advantage of that and basically just rode with the idea that like that Urias was Zapshock and that he was basically doing all these things and like this mod needs to be canceled and all that.
Did Sneedclave ever have a personal issue with staff on Nuevo Mexico? Like any direct problems or personal problems?
That's one of the very few things. We usually have no idea how he does the stuff that he does, or if he's ever affiliated with any of the Nuevo Mexico devs or like any dev whatsoever, because when he was doing smear campaigns for Fallout Ashfall, there were there were cases where he had quote unquote anonymous sources where they were basically just like sending messages of just like we good.
We're good. We're good. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just giving you
yeah,
the floor.
we're still good.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
so
I was just messing around with StreamYard. So, by the
no,
way, we are not sponsored by them, by the way. So, take that as you will.
yeah, so he would have basically anonymous sources from the from them where he would basically just like where these would entail messages that were completely unhinged and that would make up to like a bunch of these accusations. Like one of the recent accusations that they basically made was Ashwell dude being Jewish when he wasn't even Jewish, when he isn't even Jewish at all. But like they're doing like that, they're carrying on with the accusation with all that. There's also unhinged messages where he would basically tell Ashwell dude to basically murk himself and all that. So like
Yeah.
crazy people usual. And those messages that he would provide would usually be under the suspicion that it would be one of the former devs of Asheville, primarily Monty and Crimson Gray, who were basically the front runners of the entire Fallout Asheville hate campaign. And yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well,
No, just what's confusing me is that he did have a personal reason to want to smear Ashfall, but I'm wondering, did he smear Nuevo Mexico just chasing that yellow journalism clout?
It was
I would say so.
yeah, something along the lines of that. Along the lines of that. Sorry, stupid stutter. It was a little bit along the lines of that. And there was actually an event where Zabshock heard about the entire Fallout Ashfall Discord, and he actually personally reached out to Ashfall dude to basically give out his condolences and pretty much say, hey, this is absolutely insane. I am like really, really sorry that you had to lose your whole entire project over this whole thing. Like it's ridiculous. Why people would why would there be people like that who would take their time time and moments to just
focused energy.
All that focused energy just to do all of this over what's pretty much nothing if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like I said at the top, some people take video games way too seriously.
Oh yeah. Sometimes it is like people take video games way too seriously, but like also just like they in some cases they just like take a lot of things too seriously, like fame and all that. Because as I mentioned before, one of Allout's main things is that his interview with like Chris Avalon, who was like a former Fallout 2 New Vegas writer, and he would basically just like hold that like high over his head on like a high horse, like telling him, hey, like I did all this, blah 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 blah. I'm like the most famous dude ever. When in reality, I think it was like mentioned only once in like a Rooster Teeth daily gaming news show thing that, according to the old friend who was who was talking about it, was like not super great. So
lots of cringe.
So like it's basically,
so there was this interview that existed at one point in time.
Yeah, and that's pretty much just like the whole thing. He would just like be up in this high horse about it. And I guess I guess that was like the entirety of like All Out's character, because like after, because that's kind of like one of the behaviors that like Sneakclave would exhibit, because there would be times where you would question him or call him out, and they'd be like, we're doing this for like All Out and Crimson Gray, who have been like falsely accused, and they're the better writers, which is for All Out very ironic.
Yeah.
We're doing this for like them, who's like the best writer in like the Fallout, in like the Fallout franchise, and Ashfall dude's like a fake Fallout fan, and like all that. Well, meanwhile, All Out Monty used a YouTube alternative channel called How to Exist Pranks and Tutorials, where he would make AI generated hit pieces on Ashfall dude and a few other YouTubers who caught wind of Ashfall dude and these false accusations, and took turns basically calling him out for it until they found out that How to Exist Pranks and Tutorials was owned by All Out, because he would forget to leave the watermarks on the top right of his videos for his AI generating software, and that would lead to him basically destroying his whole entire channel on an active live stream.
Wow.
It was very funny. I remember vividly too. It was originally it was a live stream by a YouTuber going by the name of Moment of Sanity, who was originally, it wasn't about All Out Monty, but it was about Shower Even Studios, where he was talking about his associates who followed behind him, and and all that, and they actually didn't think he would ever come in for that type of thing, but he did anyway with All Out Monty, and they would spend like 41 minutes of like a pretty good, I think like 1 or 2 hour, like roughly 1 or 2 hour live stream, basically just like self-reporting, like confirming all the things that he confirming all, yeah, not only what he said about it, but like the entire purpose and like intentions behind the Fallout Ashfall hate campaign, and all that. And then I ended up walking in after he destroyed the channel, like live stream. and people were like cackling. And people were like cackling about it. Like they were, they were just shouting like, it was on live camera, dude. First he destroyed the video that they were talking about, where I think it was the first time they saw that the watermark was there, because the watermark was in video / All Out, and in video was like a AI generated editing software that All Out used, and it would just be up there in a corner that would like appear and disappear like once every few seconds. Okay. So they were talking about that. He destroys the video, and then after like getting done like cackling at that, then the channel goes, and then everyone just like had an insane laugh at it, and then I came back in asking like what the hell was going on, and then I got everything, and I started laughing.
As the chat's flooded with the laughing Total Biscuit emoji.
Yeah, and then they got covered in a video as well. Sandy made a video about it regarding, he titled it something like the Shower Studios and like the AI cult videos, like they don't want you to see, or something along the lines of that.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, the more you know, knowing is half the battle. So before we actually go for today, it is getting about that time. I do want to give you some final thoughts. So go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
Okay. So I feel really sorry about what happened to Ashfall dude, and also what happened to Urias, that they're being targeted for such things like this, especially when it is something that people are making for free, that they're getting also for free. So like in actuality, like the only thing that literally wasting his like is just like time and then like nothing else.
Right.
And like how insane it is that like they would actually that there are people who would take modding, gaming, and all that just like way too unhingedly serious the way that All Out and all of his alts would do.
Yes.
And I just hope
I do contend.
go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, I do contend All Out doesn't. I don't think he takes gaming too seriously. I'm pretty certain he takes himself too seriously, and New Vegas just got in the way.
Oh yes.
It would
Yes,
it would
that's
be,
my impression of him too.
it would be a little bit, but honestly, I think it's just his ego that he took way too seriously. Like he just like he's just like so very like he's just so very self-centered, and he never and I guess my working game theory about this right now is that he just never took that narcissism of himself just like ever unserious until it got to a point where until it got to the break point of Fallout Ashfall where he realized that like nothing is going in his utopian case scenario ways. So the best case to do would just be like hate campaigns, smear campaigns,
right,
libeling, defamation, just to uphold a reputation that like that probably was like already gone after he stole all the credit from Potato and founding Sugar Bombed and not even putting it up to its former glory that it was back then, from what I've heard.
Well, I'm genuinely speechless that his ego would get in the way of that. McJeetus, I'd like to thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And for those of you who are watching, remember to do all the YouTube things and beware, the tax man cometh.